welcome back. It's Christina again with the Artist Pod, and today we'll be talking about how to draw a baby fox. As always, I'm using a Wacom Intuos Pro tablet, and I'm drawing straight into Photoshop. So, let's get arting. Alright, so here is the baby fox. So I'm going to get started adding in the orange first. I'm going to do everything in shadow, which is not what I typically do. So when I'm talking about adding things in shadow, what I mean is not putting full pen pressure, right? So, what I'm doing is just this kind of light strokes, but filling it in completely. And then, you always turn the fur the direction you think it would be going. But it's just kind of, these lighter strokes. And then coming off the nose, you're going to have a strip that comes up the center. Coming off the nose, I usually angle a little bit towards the eye, especially since I'm not doing the clumps of fur. So in this style, you aim it for the eye, and then it'll loop up and over the eye, right? You have kind of this swoop action that happens over the eye. And then being careful around eyes, because eyes are important. We look at eyes first before we look at anything else. And then kind of swooping down off the bottom, right? So then it would meet in the middle, because down below this, it's going to angle down and then come up and meet here in the middle and then bring it off to the edge. So as opposed to adding highlight where I'd be putting full pen pressure, you can see the difference there, or even filling in more lines, because you fill in more lines and you can see the same thing happens. I won't be doing that. On this stage I'll be adding the highlights next. So I'm going to get this all done in shadow, and I will be right back. Alright, I'm just going to get the white in real fast. And then there's a little bit of black here, black on the nose, black on the paws. And so I'll do that after I get the white. And I will be right back again. Now, I've actually been debating this the whole time, whether or not to have the light source coming from the left or the right. I think I'm going to have it coming from the left. Yeah, okay. So, I am going to kind of create a fur pattern in here, clump it up, kind of like how I did the Numbat. I'll link that video at the end of this one. That same idea, so not where I pre-draw in the fur, but where I kind of wing it. Since it's coming from above and to the left, right, the light on the left side of the face is going to be more prominent, but I am still going to be picking and choosing exactly what's where. Under the eye, there's usually always highlight, especially on a predator, right? Their faces are turned forward. And just sort of sorting out what's what and where it would be. So there would definitely be highlight through here, right along this side. I'm going to have some shadowing up by the eye. Not a whole lot, but a little there. As we come over this way, you know, and it depends on exactly where your light source is. The further to the front the light source, right, even if it's still above and to the left, but more to the front, the more highlighted it'll be. The further over, the more dramatic the shadows slowly become until it's right next to. And if it's right next to, you'll have like, you know, the side of the face in highlight. You'll have the side of where like the nose is coming out, basically the profile getting that highlight. I like it a little bit more forward so that I have a chance to add a little bit more highlight to the face. Whether or not it's going to be there or not, I do typically put highlight around the eye. Because eyes are the first thing we look at, right? So I sort of bring that up, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but right, but I'm still being very picky right now over where I am highlighting. I'm just kind of putting these clumps. Now I am putting more pin pressure because I am clumping it instead of doing what I usually do where I just fill in the whole thing. This adds a little bit more texture. I've done it, usually I'll clump them when I draw it in, and then, you know, that adds a lot of texture. This, I'm still trying to match another design, so I didn't want to do that. But adding still a little bit of texture in. Right, this really, if I take that off, you can kind of see what's happening here. Get a sense for how this is going to look. I think it'll work well by doing it this way. Trying to allow shadows to be more dramatic than I used to. I think it helps really bring out a lot in the subject. So being mindful of that as well. Let's see, already fading it out on this side so that you still have some shadowing with maybe a little bit of like here or there popping out. Or maybe a little bit of highlight would catch. Now you have where the head is blocking down, but that wouldn't impact down here in this section. Right, okay, so I'm going to get the rest of this finished, the rest of the orange finished, and I will be right back. Now for the white. Going to do the same thing, right? So still kind of clumping it up, and then having that transition to shadow. Going to have a little bit down here on his chin. Not much though. You know, leaving a gap now because his chin is going to create a shadow. Now, usually the shadow comes off the bottom of something in the direction and the angle of the light source, right? So if the light source is like here, then that angle would come down, right? That angle is coming down this way. So as that angle hits here, the shadow would be here, right? So it's just always something to consider, the way that light source is coming down, hitting your subject, because that will dictate exactly how the shadow underneath something is happening. All right, so just like with the red, I'm gonna get the white done. Bearing in mind what I just talked about, that angle, to get the angle under the chin right, and I will be right back. Now the black. I might temper the black right here on his cheeks a little bit with some red, but for right now, same thing, right? Still gonna do those clumps. And then I'll mix some red in here. And then on this side it quickly goes into shadow. We have the nose, which it goes into shadow as it works its way over. Has some highlight down. Yeah. And then fading this better than I did. Okay. And then down here, same thing. Same shadow, same highlight going into the shadow at the same spot on the leg, right? So as it works its way over, that goes into shadow. So I'm going to finish the black, and I'll be right back. Now I'm going to take the red again just real fast and temper off the black up here in the cheeks. Just sort of fade it together with the red. Alright, so now for the eyes. Now, he kind of looks like a sad little fox. I wasn't really thinking about his expression when I was drawing him. So I'm going to see what I can do with his eyes. Make him any more excited looking, but not scared. Right? So first we're going to, oh, that's a bad pupil. That's alright, we're going to fix it. I'm going to draw the pupils in. And then, encircle it. As I do that, right, I'm only really kind of doing half. And I always descend down on the line. Right, I create a curve going down. Like it's happening is it's the shadow from the eyelid. And so it's not exactly in that shape, but it is that descending kind of shape. Same thing on this side. I'm going to make some small adjustments, because it doesn't take much to change an expression. And it also doesn't take much before you breach over into it looking shocked, which I don't want it to look shocked or scared. I just want it to look bright-eyed. Okay, I guess that kind of works. Now, like always, I do take the elliptical Marquee tool and I do make the pupil again. Because once again, eyes are very particular. So I do it, and then I'm going to inverse it so that I can take it and fill in the edges of the pupil. And then I do it again, select inverse, reselect the elliptical Marquee tool, and drag that selection over. That way that I maintain the same little selection I already have. Do the same thing, erase out, select inverse, and sort of cross hatch in the edge of the pupil. So I'm drawing at a different angle, right? I'm not following that pattern around because it's easier to fill it in when you're changing that. And then I'm just going to deselect. Right, you can see that really fills it in. Okay. Now, it's coming from above and to the left. So on the right side, I'm going to put a burst of light against the pupil here. So that's full pin pressure there. And then full pin pressure on the side of the light source all the way up to the edge, because the edge will be in shadow. And then all the way underneath. But not, it's not very well done, but it'll still work. Right, and then going into shadow on the back side, but filling it in more than it currently is. Same thing over here. Right, filling that in, connecting that underneath. And then brightening up the back side, but not nearly as much as the side with the light source. I'm going to take white and add a little light flare. Always in the highlighted portion. Yeah. There you go. A little baby fox. All right, so that's how you draw the baby fox. I hope that was helpful. In the floating nether next to me, I have other videos of art tutorials I have done, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much. Take care.